All right, let's talk about something that's absolutely critical to the health of literally half the planet. But for some reason, we don't talk about it enough. We're going to pull back the curtain on the powerful, microscopic, and honestly, fascinating world of the vaginal microbiome. So let me just ask you this. What if I told you that right now, inside your body, there's a secret, inner world, a whole ecosystem that acts as your personal, round-the-clock security team? It sounds like science fiction, right? But it's not. It's just really, really cool science. So who are these tiny protectors? Who are the guardians of this inner world? Well, this ecosystem is just teeming with bacteria. And no, these aren't the bad guys. The vast majority of them are essential, highly specialized protectors that keep things in balance and fight off any unwanted visitors. And the absolute star of the show, the main character in this whole story, is a type of bacteria called Lactobacilli. Seriously, think of them as the gatekeepers. In a healthy, happy vaginal ecosystem, these little guys make up a whopping 90 to 95% of all the bacteria in there. Their dominance is everything. It's the key. So how do they actually pull this off? It's this brilliant three-step defense system. First, they create lactic acid, which makes the whole environment acidic. We're talking a pH below 4.5. Most pathogens hate that. They can't survive. Second, they release their own weapons, antimicrobials, like hydrogen peroxide, that go out and actively destroy invaders. And third, they just take up all the space. They stick to the vaginal walls, so there's literally no room for bad bacteria to move in and set up shop. It's genius. Okay, so that's what it looks like when everything is working perfectly. But what happens when that careful balance gets knocked sideways? Well, that state of imbalance has a scientific name, dysbiosis. And trust me, it can lead to some really common and really frustrating problems. And you can see the difference right here. It's like night and day. On one side, you have that healthy, acidic environment totally run by lactobacilli. But on the other, you have what's known as bacterial vaginosis, or BV. Now, this is super important. BV isn't really an infection from the outside. It's more like a hostile takeover from within. Bacteria that are normally there in tiny, harmless numbers, like Gardnerella, suddenly get the chance to multiply and take over when the good guys, the lactobacilli, get wiped out. And the symptoms of BV can be pretty noticeable. Things like thin discharge, a distinct fishy odor, itching, or even burning. But, and this is a huge but, a lot of people who have BV show no symptoms at all. Zero. Which, makes it really tricky to even know something's off without a proper checkup. So what can throw this whole system out of whack? Well, there are a few usual suspects. Douching is a big one. It's like a power washer for all your good bacteria. Scented soaps and hygiene products can cause irritation, and other things like new sexual partners, smoking, and even high stress can tip the scales. And for some people, it's just biology. They naturally have fewer of those protective lactobacilli to begin with. Okay, now this is where the story gets really interesting. Because we've been using this word healthy, but it turns out that a healthy vaginal microbiome isn't one size fits all. Not even close. In fact, what's considered normal can be dramatically different depending on who you are and where you are in the world. You see, scientists have figured out that you can group these microbiomes into 5 main categories called community state types, or CSTs. Now, 4 of these 5 are exactly what we've been talking about. They're dominated by a specific species of those good lactobacilli. But then there's that 5th one, CSTIV. It's different. It's what's called polymicrobial, which is just a fancy way of saying it has a huge mix of different bacteria and way fewer lactobacilli. And this is why that CSTIV is such a game changer. Just look at this data from one study. The amount of lactobacillus was all over the map. In the group of African American women studied, it was almost 92%, but in the group of Afro-Caribbean women, it was down around 26%. So what does this mean? It means that having a low lactobacillus state isn't automatically a sign of disease. For many healthy people around the world, that's just their normal. This totally rewrites the rulebook on what we define as healthy. Okay, so all of this leads to a pretty logical question, right? If the good bacteria are gone, or if you don't have enough, can't we just put them back? And that brings us to the massive, booming industry of probiotics and what the actual science has to say. So can you really just go to the store, grab a bottle of probiotics off the shelf and fix the problem? Can you restore that delicate balance? It's the million-dollar question for sure. And the answer is, well, it's a lot more complicated than the packaging might lead you to believe. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from the American Society for Microbiology says it all. They say, yeah, these probiotics promise to seed the vagina with good microbes, but most of those claims just don't have the scientific evidence to back them up. The idea is great, but the proof just isn't there yet. And there are some pretty big reasons why. For starters, not a single probiotic has been proven effective enough to get FDA clearance for actually treating an infection. We also don't really know which specific strains are best, or what the right dose is, or for how long you need to take them. And maybe the biggest hurdle of all, just swallowing a pill doesn't mean those good bacteria are actually going to survive the trip and set up a new home where they're needed. The science is moving forward for sure, but it is still very, very early. So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway from all of this? Honestly, the most powerful thing you can do is learn to work with your body, not against it. This ecosystem is brilliantly designed to be self-cleaning and self-regulating. So by simply avoiding the things we know are disruptive, like douching or harsh-scented products, you're giving your body's own guardians the best possible chance to do their job effectively. It's less about what you need to add and more about protecting the incredible system you already have. Trusting your body's amazing built-in design is, right now, the best strategy we've got.